Good evening and welcome to a regular meeting of the Oak Harbor City Council. It is the evening of February 2nd, 2021, 6 p.m. I'd like to call the meeting to order and invite you to stand and join us this evening in an invocation tonight led by Pastor Kevin Scott of the Seventh-day Adventist Church. And immediately following the invocation, I will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pastor Scott?
Dear Heavenly Father, I just want to thank you, Lord, for all your blessings and all your mercies on us, Lord. Father, we want to bring our petitions before you this evening. We think of the world pandemic, and we just ask, Lord, that very soon that businesses and churches and schools will be able to get back to normal. We want to pray for our leaders of the country, Lord, and the representatives that are making decisions. I pray for wisdom for them. And tonight I want to pray, Lord, for the members of the City Council that are meeting together to make some very important decisions concerning our city here in Oak Harbor. Father, give them wisdom, give them focus on the issues at hand, and Father, may they make the decisions that will benefit the citizens of this city tonight. I pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor Scott. Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the
United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation.
with liberty and justice for all. So due to COVID-19, there is no physical meeting location per Washington Proclamation 20-28. Tonight's meeting may be viewed live via YouTube and replayed on cable channel 10. In addition, the public may call 623-404-9000 and enter the meeting ID number 149-766-1467 to listen to the meeting live. This is for audio only. Council members and city staff are participating via teleconference. The staff sitting in council chambers are all physically distanced at least 6 feet apart and will be wearing masks when they are not speaking. Guests that are included in staff presentations will be excused from the Ring Central meeting at the conclusion of the agenda item as appropriate. Will our city clerk, Julie, please call the roll?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Mayor Pro Tem Munns. Mayor Pro Tem Munns.
Looks like she's trying. Can't hear her.
Mayor Pro Tem, you're muted.
We know she's there, though.
We can see that she is present. Councilmember Heisen.
Okay, I'm here.
Thank you. Councilmember Heisen.
Present.
Councilmember Servadius.
Present.
Councilmember Wassinger.
Present.
Councilmember Wiesner.
Present.
Councilmember Mack.
Present.
Councilmember Goebel.
Present.
Mayor, all council members are present.
Thank you, Julie. So our city attorney is requesting to add an executive session to this evening's meeting per RCW 4230-110, Section 10I, to discuss potential litigation with legal counsel. Anticipated duration is 10 minutes. And if there are any other changes to the agenda, we should do so now. Otherwise, I would entertain a motion to amend the agenda to add the executive session.
So moved.
Second.
So we've got a motion and second then to approve the agenda with the addition of executive session per RCW 4230-110. Motion by Mayor Pro Tem Munns, second by Councilor Wiesner. All in favor, raise your hand. So that passes unanimously. Thank you. So we will then move on to the, there are no presentations. We'll move on to section 3 of the agenda, our citizen comment period. Citizens may comment on subjects of interest not listed on the agenda or items listed on the consent agenda. Public comment may be submitted electronically to the city clerk at jlindsay@oakarbor.org or by calling 360-279-4539 after 5 p.m. on the Friday preceding the meeting and prior to the meeting. To ensure comments are recorded properly, we ask that you please state your name clearly. When leaving a message, please limit your comments to 3 minutes. We have received no public comment for this meeting. Okay, then we will then move on to section 4, which is our consent agenda, and it looks like we have items A through G on the consent agenda. Are there any questions? And if we, okay, Mayor Pro Tem Munns?
Thank you, Mayor. I have a question on 4D to ask Grant Weed, please.
Okay, so we will accept then items 4 ABC and then E, F, G as presented. And we will then turn to Mayor Pro Tem Munns, and I think we have our attorney Grant Weed with us here. Are you there, Mr. Weed? There he is.
Good evening, I am here.
Could you just give us a little more detail about the event which are not available for appeal under Chapter 1.24? There seem to be conflicting about appeals, not appeals, other options for non-appeals. So I don't speak legal.
No, I would be glad to shed some clarification. This is essentially a housekeeping matter. In our code, section 1.24.020, there is a list of different chapters in the municipal code that have appeal processes, and that list of code sections, among others, includes provisions relating to solid waste appeals. And under our solid waste chapter, there was what I would call a scrivener's error in the reference to that section, because the list that's referenced in that part of our code are those that do not apply, and the section should apply to the solid waste code in terms of appeals that are other than for the billing. So this is intended to address issues like someone who does not comply with the code by rolling their solid waste carts away from the curb back to their residence. And if they feel like they've been aggrieved, they have a process that should be provided for an appeal. So it cleans up that part of the code to be sure that there's a process for appealing solid waste code violations.
Okay, thank you. I just got a little confusing. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Mayor, may I move to have 4D accepted? If there's no other further questions?
Yes, you certainly can. We have a motion then to accept 4D as presented,
Second.
and we have a second. So the motion is to accept item number 4D of the consent agenda as presented. Motion by Mayor Pro Tem Munn, second by Councillor Wassinger. No other questions. All in favor, say aye. Or raise your hands. I'm sorry. Okay, that passes unanimously. Thank you, Council. We will then move on to the mayor's comments. Community response to COVID-19. City facilities remain open, but we would like to remind the community of our many options to conduct business and connect with staff virtually. Electronic bill pay, virtual development application meetings, virtual boards and commissions meetings, and an online comment portal are just a few of the ways we have adapted to meet the needs of the community during this pandemic. More details and resources about the local COVID or impact of COVID-19 can be found on our website at www.oakharbor.org/COVID-19. Access to certain areas of city facilities are restricted for the safety of staff and our community. We are not allowing public use of our restrooms at this time. We also ask, and I think that's here at City Hall, we also ask that you provide 6 feet of physical distance between you and staff when conducting business in city facilities. Visitors to city facilities must wear a cloth face covering or clear face shield over your nose and mouth while in the building to comply with the governor's orders. Vaccinations are an important step on the path out of COVID-19 pandemic. Island County Public Health, in coordination with the Washington State Department of Health and other partners, continue to plan for Island County vaccine distribution. You can find the link to Island County Public Health's COVID-19 vaccination information page from our city website and Facebook page. Appointments for COVID vaccinations are still required for mass vaccination sites and through local providers. Here's how to get an appointment. First, determine if you are eligible using Phase Finder, and that's www.findyourphasewa.org. If you are eligible, schedule an appointment with a local provider, and that's www.doh.wa.gov/vaccine locations, or schedule an appointment with the nearby mass vaccination site. And those are also on the doh.wa.gov website. Phase Finder does not schedule appointments. It only determines if you are eligible. If eligible, it will display a list of providers who have shared their information with the Department of Health. Those without internet access or who are uncomfortable using online tools should ask a friend or family member for help scheduling an appointment. They can also call the COVID-19 the COVID hotline at 1-800-525-0127 for help, but should expect long wait times. The hotline does not have access to unique appointments, only what's available online. Appointments are still in great demand. Check back to see if more appointments are available. More vaccine is coming, but it's not all here yet. We appreciate your patience. Please continue saving lives by practicing the 3 W's. Wear your mask, watch your distance, and wash your hands. And get tested if you have COVID symptoms or have been exposed. We are monitoring updates from the governor's office each week. I want to thank the public, our city council, and our staff for working with us as we continue to follow these requirements. Please remember to wear masks and maintain physical distance in public spaces. Update to questions from the CARES presentation at the January workshop. Staff reached out to MRSC regarding whether the state of Washington will be extending the deadline for local governments to use unspent funds on the coronavirus or Corona Relief Fund for local governments. Their response was that there will not be an extension of dollars allocated to local governments. If more funding is provided to local governments, it will most likely come from future federal funding packages and will be distributed to local governments through a completely new contract. So far, there is no news on if or when that could happen. Staff is tracking costs and potential expenses should additional funding become available. City of Oak Harbor Audit Exit Conference. The State Auditor's Office held their audit exit interview with the city earlier today. The auditors reviewed the city's management records and actions and noted no findings. A copy of the audit report will be provided to council. Mayor Pro Tem Munns and council members Servadius and Wiesner attended on behalf of the council, along with myself, City Administrator Oborn, and Finance Director Goldman and staff. I appreciate the fine work of our staff that produced a successful audit. Thank you. Anonymous comment from comment box. The city received anonymous comments in our City Hall comment box, which I found in checking the box this morning. I have forwarded the comments to the council for their review. The city welcomes comments from employees and members of the public alike. The comment box is located in the lobby of City Hall. Comments may be signed or can be anonymous. So I will now turn to the council for council comments. Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to add my congratulations to the city because I know it took all of staff to get all their paperwork and receipts and stuff into the financial team. Thank Mr. Goldman and his financial team. A big congratulations for all the hard work they do. But I also want to extend a big thank you to Patricia Soul because it was during the 2019 season, this audit, and she led that team to a perfect record. So it took everyone's contribution. So thank you very much. And Mr. Goldman, you've got it all for the next one.
All right, I got some pretty big shoes to fill.
Oh, you'll do fine, sir. Thank you very much, Relay, to your team who's not listening. Big thanks for that.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Councilor Wassinger.
Oh, thank you, Mayor. Yeah, I just wanted to follow up our resolution last month in support of the Oak Harbor School District levy. As we all know, it's coming time, and I just wanted to thank the community again for their support and thank the school district for all their hard work during this difficult time. And everyone should have their ballots, and I just encourage everyone to vote, and just wanted to say that again because it's coming down the line, and I think this is our last meeting and until the election day. So thank you again to our community and to the school district. Thank you.
Councilor Mack.
Thank you, Mayor. I just have a brief statement here for everyone, and this refers to our workshop meeting on Wednesday, the 27th of January, and it has come to my attention that some people think I speak loudly. I come across as aggressive and the use of colorful language on occasions. I apologize if it has offended anyone. I do have hearing issues, which causes me to speak louder. So I may come across as more forward than others. As far as my language and demeanor, I'm very passionate about some of these issues. I would try to be more respectful moving forward, along with being more mindful of Parliamentary Procedures and Rules. Please let me know if I'm speaking too loudly so I can correct myself. And I appreciate everybody's understanding. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Mack. Councillor Goebel.
Thank you, Mayor. Just piggybacking off of what Councilwoman Wassinger said, just reminding everybody to exercise those civic rights that we are all so fortunate to have, and to fill out your ballot and turn it in. And huge thank you to the Oak Harbor Public Schools team for working so hard to bring our students back into in-person learning in the safest possible way. So thank you, and everybody remember to vote.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Wiesner.
Thank you, Mayor. I too would like to congratulate staff Tally and the gang in finance and our previous finance director Patricia for another successful audit. It was reassuring to hear we're doing a lot of right things. I also wanted to thank the folks who left the comments in the comment box. We do appreciate the comments, and certainly I appreciate the mayor for forwarding those on to us, and so keep them coming. And finally, I guess wanted to put out a personal comment about how disappointed I am in the governor's office for not extending those CARE funds. That's money that we had intended all along to get out into the public sector and into our business community. Unfortunately, a lot of folks who applied for that money obviously just didn't make it to the end. And, part of that was due to, the restrictions that we had on that money and how that money would be issued, and the type of paperwork and accounting and et cetera. There's always a catch to that stuff, right? And there was quite a bit of catches to that money. And because those businesses weren't able to take opportunity of it, we weren't able to get that money recirculated out to other businesses because of the timeline that was placed upon us. And the governor's office had the opportunity to extend that and allow us to get that money out in our community. Unfortunately, the decision was made for that money to go back to the state coffers, right? So I just wanted to share my disappointment for that. That's money certainly that our business community could have used, and we would have loved to have the opportunity to get that back out to some other businesses. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Wiesner. Thank you to all council for comments there. Looks like that concludes the council comments. So we will then move on to our next item on our agenda, which we have no council, we have no city administrator comments. Okay, so we will move on then to no public hearings or meetings, and then we'll move on to ordinance number 1922. This is item number 7A, amending Oak Harbor Municipal Code 5.25.080, entitled Vehicle Inspection and Maintenance, relating to the age of TNC vehicle. And I believe we have our legal department, our interim city attorney, Grant Weed, for this.
Thank you, Mayor. This ordinance addresses the age of vehicles that our city code allows for use with respect to TNC, Transportation Network vehicles. The current age that maximum age of vehicles can be under your existing code is 10 years. And it's my understanding that some members of the industry had made a request that be increased to 15 years. I think some of the other staff did some research, and the more current practice with a number of other municipal codes is in fact 15 years. I'm sure not all require or allow that, but some do. So the issue before you tonight, council members, is whether to amend your municipal code to allow a 10-year vehicle to be 15 years instead. So with that, I'll assist in answering any questions.
So I guess before we turn to council, do we have any, I assume we have no input from the public, okay?
That's correct, Mayor. No
Okay.
input.
Okay, turn to council for any questions or input. Mayor Pro Tem Munns.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to say I'm in favor of it. For when we used to have workshops, I was on the Public Works, and I remember being out there in there going over different vehicles and being told that certain ones needed to be replaced. But when you looked at the mileage, they only had 13,000 miles or something. So I think there's an advantage of some ways living on the island when you're using trucks or certain equipment. They're not traveling 100 miles every day just to get somewhere. So I'm in favor of it, as long as they're in good shape and not leaking oil like a sieve. I think that we should extend it. It's an easy fix, and thank you, Mr. Reed, for straightening that up. I appreciate it.
Any other council questions or input? Mayor Pro Tem, that almost sounded like a motion.
I'll be happy to make a motion, sir. I move that we adopt ordinance number 1922 as presented.
Second.
Second.
Okay, we've got a motion and a couple seconds to adopt ordinance number 1922 as presented. Motion by Mayor Pro Tem Munns, second by Councilor Servadius. Seeing no other questions, all in favor, raise your hand, please. That passes unanimously. Thank you very much, Council. So we will move on to item number 8A, Professional Services Agreement Transpo Group to finalize plans at the Passaic location for waterfront pedestrian improvements. And I think we have, yes, we have City Engineer Jim Bridges here tonight. Jim, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. So this is a little bit of housekeeping. So last year, recall, we had a contract with Transpo Group to do some design work on a multiple number of projects that we all lumped together called the waterfront pedestrian projects. Looks like I might have froze up here just in time. All right, sorry, I'm sorry, my system froze. So the waterfront pedestrian projects, and those were centered around Bayshore, by the Wells Fargo Bank at the entrance to I apologize. It seems like I have internet issues. So anyway, so those were on Bayshore at the entrance of Windjammer Park. Down the street, you recall we did the mid-block crosswalk, and then we did some work at the intersection of Dock Street. And this project was in front of Passaic Vault on Pioneer Way. And so, yeah, so I'm breaking up here. So, so we decided to focus on the projects along Bayshore to get those out, get them prepared for the upcoming paving project. And we put this project off to the side. So this is the sidewalk project. I don't know if you guys can hear me when I'm still froze up or not.
Yeah, can now.
I'm sorry.
Yep.
Oh, so if you hear me when I'm still froze up, I'll just keep on talking. So I apologize. So this is the sidewalk project in front of the Passaic Vault project. It's required to bump out the sidewalk. And if I can share my screen, I'll show you real quick what the project does. Share. Come on. Let me share my screen here. So essentially, we have to bump the sidewalk out away from the vault because the vault lid is going to be raised approximately 10 inches. As you know, the sidewalk and the vault lid are flush right now. And with the vault being raised 10 inches, it would cause a tripping hazard. So we bump the sidewalk around it so that we can, there you go, if you can see that. So this area here is the vault. The sidewalk will actually bump out into Pioneer Way. It allows us to put an ADA ramp up to the vault so folks can get up there and view the memorial and other things on the deck. We also improve the ADA access across the intersection to Pasek and across Pasek to the other side. So there's about $6,800 worth of work remaining to be done to finish the design. It's about 90% complete when we put it on hold. And unfortunately, we allowed the Transpo contract to lapse. We just didn't, we failed to remember that this was part of that project. So this is a little bit of housekeeping. And we'd appreciate if you would consider approving the motion. I'll stand for questions.
Okay, make sure we haven't got any input from the public on this. Nope. So go to council. Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Bridges, when you bump out the sidewalk, I can't really tell on this drawing, will we lose a couple of parking spaces there on the street where it bumps out to make provisions for the ramp and
Yeah,
for
so if you look-
the lid?
Yeah, if you look at the bottom of the drawing, if you can see where my cursor is, you'll see where the new sidewalk comes out into the existing lane. So we still have a 12-foot travel lane, and then we don't affect any of the travel lane of the parking on the north side of the street. So we will lose a couple parking spots at that location.
Okay. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
We have Councilor Servadius.
Thank you, Mayor. A couple things. I think if you pinch and squeeze out, you can kind of zoom in on this. I'm trying. Mr. Bridges, does that come out? I see it goes over the fog line, which is the white line. I mean, that's the traditional white line.
Yes.
What happens then? How far out does that stick into the, how's that not sticking into the travel lane? I'm trying to see down here at the very bottom, the cross section that you were just showing Councilmember Munns.
Yeah, it comes out about 12, 14 feet into the lane. So fortunately, that section of Pioneer Way is rather wide. It does provide parking on both sides. So we still maintain our 12-foot lane width as we pass through or pass by the sidewalk area. And 12 foot is actually the travel lanes can be anywhere between 10 feet to 12 feet, and 12 feet's the comfortable distance.
So right now, tell me if this is a correct statement. So I'm looking at the graphic starting on the left-hand side. I see the fog line come in where it intersects the bump out.
Yes.
Right there. If someone is not paying attention at night, what keeps them from drifting onto that fog line and going up onto that?
Oh, so we're not showing the signs in this drawing here. So there'll be signage, there'll be reflective markers and things of that nature to indicate that there's a bump out there. Similar to what we've done on down at the mid-block crosswalk where we have the bump outs.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, that would be just, I know you guys think about traffic safety. That's just, it looks like it's taking out a big chunk of that lane, but
yeah,
if that's what we need to do.
Yeah, and that's the distance we need. So we get the proper slope up for the ADA access up to the top of the vault.
All right, thank you.
Councilor Wiesner.
Thank you, Mayor. Well, Mr. Bridges, thank you for finally getting this project close to the end. This was a project that you inherited, that the council had pushed for a much simpler solution to than the solutions we had, which were basically rebuilding this entire system and relocating it and doing all sorts of crazy things, right? And in the end, we finally have a solution that's going to get our memorials up there. It's going to get our public safe. It's going to have us a reinforced area that now people can stand on and use. And we're not rebuilding the entire system. So thanks for finally getting it to the end. Certainly, I understand the ADA thing, and that's what we're really accomplishing with all of this, and that's what we have to deal with. Otherwise, obviously, we could have tucked this in much closer, but we need that distance for that 1 foot 1 inch slope to meet that requirement. So I totally get that, but thank you for getting us to the end. I'll be happy to see when those memorials get placed. I know the families have been waiting a long time for that. They've been very patient, to get this done. And this is going to be a predominant spot for them. It's going to be a special place for them and their family to come and see this memorial. So appreciate the efforts. I know this was an inherited problem, and this was a much bigger problem when you had inherited it than it is now. So thank you for that.
Well, and thank you, and you're welcome, and I appreciate that. And one of the things I didn't highlight in this design, this speckled area right here, that's all going to be landscape. So that slope will be nice and landscaped. There'll be bushes, flowers, shrubs, whatever they want. So it'll be an attractive piece instead of just, there's a piece of sidewalk with something to stick on top what's over there. So we tried to make it a destination spot, and I think the bump out, the landscaping will highlight that. So we tried to put a little aesthetic design in it as well. So, we could have bid the actual vault repair separately, but we chose to wait to bid this as one project. When you start breaking a project up into pieces, the cost goes up. So by combining the two projects, we're looking to get a better price overall. So
Thanks again.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay, that looks like that concludes the questions. So the recommended action is a motion to sign the agreement. Councilor Servadius.
I move to authorize the mayor to sign the professional services agreement between the city of Oak Harbor and Transpo Group on the Passaic Sewer Vault Sidewalk Realignment Project.
Second.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second. The motion reads exactly like the recommended action. Motion by Councilor Servadius, second by Councilor Wiesner. Seeing no other input or questions, all in favor, please raise your hand. Okay, that passes unanimously. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Bridges.
Thank you all. Thank you.
So then at this point, we'll be that concludes our regular agenda items for this evening, and we will enter into executive session per RCW 4230-110, Section 1, Paragraph I, to discuss potential litigation with legal counsel. Anticipated duration is 10 minutes. Executive sessions are not open to the public. We don't intend, I guess at this point, we will reconvene to close the meeting after executive session. Okay. I'll grab my computer.
The recording
Okay? Are we good, Lisa?
Yeah,
Okay,
we're good.
I'll reconvene this regular meeting of the Oak Harbor City Council. February 2nd, we were in executive session where no decisions were made. So we will go back in from executive session to our regular session. And if there's no further business, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn by Mayor
Second.
Pro Tem, second by Councilor Servadius. All in favor, raise your hand. Thank you very much for your attendance and all of your work.